video. Why video? Nobody knows. Are we live? I think we're live.
I'm live. I'm live, baby.
7 seconds ago, we were live. Yes. So the technical difficulty we were having was that we haven't found Quinn.
There's nobody but us. Just a couple of lonely nerds talking retro.
Yeah. So we'll just see if she'll probably show up at some point.
But she's on another podcast right now making fun of us.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Okay, so let's see. I don't have my usual setup, so it doesn't matter. I was thinking that I look like I'm looking off to the side, and this is an audio podcast. What am I talking?
It's an audio podcast. So we're going retro. I got plug-in headphone this time. So can't find my earbuds. It's all retro, baby. It's all retro.
That's excellent. Yeah. Okay. Move this closer to me.
Bang the rocks together, guys.
Yep. It's July 14th, 2024, and welcome to episode 278 of the Retrocomputing Roundtable. I want to move this over here and say that again. And welcome to episode 278 of the Retrocomputing Roundtable.
Yes, continually welcomed to this episode.
Yes. Yes, we will welcome you and welcome you and welcome you. So welcome to episode 278. Yeah, whatever. The RCR is a podcast about retro computer news, nostalgia, collecting, and the heat.
The heat. The heat. Yeah, so you've got barely any air conditioning, right?
Yeah.
You're barely air conditioned.
I'm up in Minnesota, which is notoriously cold, but that's only in the winter. The rest of the time, it's in the summer, it's notoriously hot.
Or at least, you're supposed to, because it's a new show, new episode. You're supposed to say you're joined by X number of people.
Yeah, I wonder where
you're joined by me. You're joined by me, baby.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Let's see. Where do I say that? I guess. Okay. Well, anyway, yes. So, I'll cut this together in some way.
I love the idea that probably at the beginning of this, you thought, "Hey, it's only a two-hander. This will be the first time it's really easy to edit." Not realizing it's a two-hander with Muggins here.
Right.
And this thing is going to take 6 weeks to produce if I have anything to do with it.
Everything is in entirely a different order from what you will hear. Yeah. Yes. I'm Paul Hagstrom, near Minneapolis this time, and I am joined by one retro computing enthusiast, Carrington Vanston in Toronto. How are you?
I'm enthusiastic. That's why they call me an enthusiast. I'm doing great. Excellent. Bingo. Check.
Excellent. And just for later editing, and I am joined by two retro computing enthusiasts, Quinn Dunkey in rural British Columbia. How are you?
I'm great. I could just do Quinn the rest of the show.
That's right. Yeah. So, who knows? She's in a slightly bizarre time zone, and so it's quite possible that confused everything. But
she may just be from the future. I've always kind of thought
that's also possible. Yeah. Okay, so it's episode 278, and we've been kind of like tracking the years with the episode number, and this episode would be the one when we would talk about things that happened in 1978.
And the thing is, in the year before was the big one we'd all been waiting for, because you got the holy trinity of home computers all comes out. It's very exciting. And this following year, there's like nothing. I guess everyone just took a break. But Laserdiscs came out. So that's kind of fun. First one was Jaws, and then there were more, and then there were none. The story of the Laserdisc. Did I ever tell you the first time I saw a movie on Laserdisc?
I don't know.
I saw a film called Gunhead that I love. It's a like a mech film. It's amazing, and it's got a bunch of different people in it that all speak different languages, and they just. It's not translated. It's just if one person's speaking Chinese, then you get a certain subtitle. If people speak English, you get different subtitles. So you sort of look for the subtitles for the languages you don't understand as you watch it. I loved the thing. It was amazing. And so I was really excited to see it, because people had like a bootleg of this cool sounding movie, and it was going to play in the basement of like a bar. And I was saying, it's on Laserdisc. The quality will be incredible. I was so excited. So I sit down, we're watching the movie, and like 45 minutes in or so, and I'm really gripped. I'm loving this film. And to this day, I like it. And there's a Blu-ray at the moment, but the only thing it doesn't have is the English subtitles. I'm like, you're killing me. So So like 45 minutes into the movie or something like that, suddenly the screen goes completely blue and it says turn disc over. And I was like, I got halfway into the first movie I ever saw on Laserdisc. I was like, this is a dead format. I could never watch a film of this. Are you kidding me? Like,
Right.
yeah. First one killed it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, you are a vinyl record enthusiast, so
I am. But the thing is, it seems less onerous to like if you had to flip in the middle of a song, vinyl would also be bad. Which I guess you do in some, like there's Thick as a Brick, which is one big song. But other than that kind of record, you have 4 or 5 songs, which seems really quick, and then you flip it over. It seems okay to me. But the laser
that would be pretty
halfway through a movie, having to get up to drag my butt out of a chair? I don't think so. You do not understand your mark at all.
A big, sort of cushioned plaid chair.
Exactly.
No way.
Once I settle in that, I'm in for like a decade. I don't think so. Just bring me popcorn and put on another movie. So laser discs were a great idea, but on the first time I ever saw the first one, right away I was like, this format is going to die.
Yeah, it's funny though. I do remember it was a big quality thing. I mean, like, you thought, oh, right, this is going to be excellent. Mm-hmm. And I guess it was certainly compared to VCRs.
Sure.
So, which are decidedly non-excellent.
Well, and the thing is, like, if it came out in '79, it came out, I guess, before I had a VCR at home. Yeah. So it's amazing that it was out that early, to think of it. I don't know when I got the first VCR at my house, when my dad came home with a VCR and a bootleg copy of Star Wars and almost a soft core film, because he knew I was a fan of old time radio serials and old time movie serials and wanted to get me a copy of Flash Gordon. And the video guy says, well, I got one of that, handed to him, and it turned out to be Flesh Gordon, but he didn't bring it home. So
okay.
But it's like one of the big stories in our family. It's like, remember when Dad brought home the VCR and almost some porn?
Yeah. It's kind of hard to verify that, though. I mean, it almost happened.
It almost happened.
Yep. Yeah, we had my experience with a Laserdisc. I do have a Laserdisc player now.
Of course you do. You got
storage. Because I think my uncle had one. It doesn't really matter. But my experience at the time with a Laserdisc was our high school physics club had a Laserdisc player. So I mean, like, I don't know why it was them. I mean, I guess whatever, light wavelengths, something like this. but really, the physics club was essentially a movie watching club with a sort of more academic sounding name. But so that they had a Laserdisc player, and we would go, cool, after school and watch Laserdiscs.
I guess if you have 2 of them, you could get 2 copies of the movie and queue one up on side 2, ready to go, and switch between them instead.
That's pretty much how actual movie theaters work, right?
Yeah, I mean, with reels.
You have, right. Yeah. So you look for the little squigglies in the corner, and then you can watch it as they switch to the other projector.
For the squigglies.
Yep. Right. Anyway, yeah. So that was the Disco Vision. I guess. Now
I remember at Kansas Fest once, Kay Savitz. This is how I'm going to introduce him. So we have another thing about him, which is cool. Look at me being all pro. He did a thing with the movie Roller Coaster, because there was like a game. There was a choose your own adventure kind of game that you'd link an old computer to a video disc player and be able to play through, and it played scenes from the movie Roller Coaster, and that was cool. Yeah,
that was. I think I have an interface card that's supposed to connect to the particular Laserdisc player. I think it was largely for education or whatever, but they were trying to promote this, and so in that magazine they hired someone basically to do this, so something would happen, and then it would select some little scene from the thing, and it has. I mean, I think the plot of the game was somewhat related somehow to the plot of the movie, but it was somebody set a bomb in an amusement park or something.
Yeah, I remember going through it with Kay. Yeah, it was something like that. And of course, the Laserdisc was in arcade games, like Dragon Slayer and stuff, or like famously the Laserdisc games.
It's funny that is Dragon's Lair and not Dragon Slayer. I mean,
but I think that was the pun.
It must have been.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I'm not sure which. Yeah.
Ace? Space Age? Space Ace.
There's something like that. It's a space something that was a sequel that was not in nearly.
And you have to get halfway through the game, and you had to flip the whole arcade thing upside down. It's very onerous.
Right.
Very onerous.
Right.
So speaking of Kay, he did a thing.
He did do a thing.
He did a thing about the famous Computer Cafe, which was a radio program in the 80s. So what is it, 83 to 86? And it says it included computer news, product reviews, interviews, and then he headed up the famous Computer Cafe Recovery and Digitization project. That's the word. This year, and then all the episodes have been dumped. It's 58 episodes. Though there were more, I think, aired, but those are the ones they've been able to find, and they've been digitized and stuck up for free, listening on the Internet Archive. And so we will have a link to that in the show notes because it's pretty darn cool. I've listened to 2 of the episodes, but that's it, of the 58. So, and it's funny, I was like the first 2 that got posted, I think, and they were the 2 that were most interesting to me because there was one with Douglas Adams and Steve Maresky. So obviously everyone knows I love Douglas Adams and I love Infocom games, so that was really interesting. And there was one with Bill Atkinson, who I've always been a massive fan of, and early Macintosh stuff and his art. So I listened to those; they were really good. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, that's
there's a ton.
Unsurprisingly, I'd never heard of this show before, but
I had never heard of it either until this thing where he was digitizing them, collecting them, and digitizing them. I had never heard of them either. Like, it wasn't a thing I think that played, maybe not in Canada, or at least not on a radio thing that I had any association with or could get a hold of.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to just sort of like listening through these and just seeing who are there, which people are there. So excellent job, Kay. Thanks for doing that.
Yep. The Douglas Adams one was particularly really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. So it came out like right before Christmas of 1984 or something. So it was one of the relatively early episodes of the show, I think. And it was super fascinating and super enjoyable. Like, so if you're a fan of like this podcast, 100% you're going to want to listen to this digitized stuff. It is right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah. Bill Gates.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, and if somehow you have heard of this and you have a recording of one
because they're looking for more,
then definitely get a hold of somebody, Kay or somebody.
Bill Gates, famous billionaire, will come up later in the show when I chastise him. That's a little hint of what's coming up later in this episode.
That's right. This is
call it a task.
Foreshadow. There used to be a format to this show.
There was a format? But I got on the show.
Whatever.
I went out the window.
Yep. Let's see. Somebody I think it was Curtis in the comments alerted us to the fact that one thing we did not note is that the Exidy Sorcerer came out in 1978.
That's not a real computer.
Yeah, that's
we've never mentioned it before.
So that's a 1978.
I think more people and more often the Exidy Sorcerer has been mentioned on this show than it was ever talked about at the time.
It's possible, yeah. And I mean, I think this is one of those computers where we repeatedly either we speculate about its specifications incorrectly, and
right, yes.
But it is a cool computer. And I think probably the other thing that we often say, this time correctly, is that it had sort of cartridge-based software that you could get, and the cartridges were like repurposed 8-track shells. So you basically put an 8-track tape into the side of this thing. So
I like that as an aesthetic. I like the aesthetic of an 8-track.
8-track.
Does the cartridge just slam in? I dig it.
Yeah. Here it is. Yeah. The ROM packs in Exidy speak were built by replacing the internal tape in an 8-track tape cartridge. So that's, I really don't come to see these very often, but there was, I do remember years ago there was a really pretty nice eBay auction that I was looking at, but I mean, like it got beyond.
You didn't pull the trigger?
Yeah.
Was it insanely expensive? Is that why? Or you already have 5?
Yeah, I mean no, I have none of them, but
You have none of
it
them?
was
What?
I have 0 of them. I think actually, if I remember right, this was somebody who was like, he maybe worked for the company or something. He had a bunch of sort of test boards and stuff. It was a, whatever. It was a pretty neat set. Probably if you searched, rcrpodcast.com for Exity Sorcerer, that's probably
You'll find every single episode.
yeah, right.
The thing is,
Yep.
okay, so
Search
I
for
famously am a minimalist. I have one vintage computer and own very few things. You famously have 19 of everything. So you've heard of like a Google whack, right? You search for something and there's
yes,
like
right.
one result. I wonder if that's going to be a thing we can try to do. Is there a Google whack version of an eBay auction where it's something that you don't have? You're like, I don't have that. I'm like, oh, we get points. I'm going to start to search for things. I've already picked my ones for this episode, but maybe going forward, I'm going to try to pick things you don't have. Because I'm trying to sell you stuff. I'm here to sell you things, Paul. I'm here to sell you things.
Yeah, and of course, of late I've been kind of in the go the other direction kind of mood. But
Don't do it. Collect until you die.
Okay.
Be buried under a pile of your goods.
Right.
It'll make you happy. All those things will fill the hole in your life. Buy more. Buy them all.
Yeah. So let's see other things. So there's a couple of pages that we tend to go to sort of like see what happened in 1978, and this is one on computerhope.com where it says Dan Bricklin created and released VisiCalc in 1978, which is false.
I guess that's wrong, right?
It was first sold in 1979, so we'll talk about that next time. And I think where there was another one that was very much like that.
Maybe he released it in 78, but nobody bought it till 79.
Yeah.
It was a complete failure the first year.
Yeah, I don't know what there was some other thing that was also listed as being 1978. It wasn't, but I think this is correct. I think the VT100.
Oh, okay, cool. That's a standard that hung around like crazy. I know the VT100 more as things that emulate it than the actual VT100. Yeah. Holy moly, did that stick around?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things that I'd kind of like to have, but I mean they're big, but they're so sort of iconic looking. Mm-hmm. It would be nice to have one, but I also think the only way to get one is locally. I don't think I'm going to be shipping that at any time soon.
Yeah, and the reality is, like, what would you use it for nowadays? And if you want that, if you like that style, just go get like a TRS-80 Model 3. Kind of the same look, but a lot more games, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I was in college, we used a deck of VT something. It wasn't a VT100, but it was something close to communicate with our VAX, which actually is another thing that's on this list. Mm-hmm. Although I think we talked about it last time.
So it came out again this year. VAX was re-released every year until 1983. Yeah, that's how you go up against Unix. You just release and release and release and release.
Oh yeah, speaking of things that happen every year, there was also an appearance of the Xerox Alto.
The whole thing, including the stuff under the desk that I never realized was there.
I guess so. It was put in the Oval Office, maybe much of it under the desk. But so the Carter administration had a Xerox Alto delivered to the Oval Office. There's a photo of Jimmy Carter on the phone in the Oval Office, but I don't see an Alto.
Oh, there should be a National Treasure 3 where you have to go and try to get some data off it.
Right. Apparently, Reagan had it removed when he got there.
So what is
I think it didn't
thing?
fit his old style, aesthetic.
So. Newfangled for him. Curtis in the chat says, talking about 8 tracks we were talking about before, that one of the big problems is the sound fading out as you go from like one track to the next, just like the laser discs. All the technology from this particular year was always like just terrible.
Right.
Come on, man, no flipping.
Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, the Apple released the disc 2, so that was something.
Beleaguered Apple.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it wasn't yet beleaguered.
Yeah, no, this was quite a ways before the beleaguered.
Disc 2, boy howdy, that made a massive difference. The speed of that thing is, I think, a massive part of the success of the Apple II. Just like the readily available cheap discs and the crazy speed and efficiency of loading stuff in from that, just set it apart from all the cassette-based things.
Yeah,
to an insane degree.
Yeah, and that basically, I guess that was right before VisiCalc came out, and that's so those things
Killer
together.
app.
Yeah, but I feel like there was something. Oh
Death
yeah,
by
well
VisiCalc.
there was an eBay auction, but since we're going way off script anyway, let's see if I
Yeah,
can
we
find.
are. Scripts are nothing. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go to the woods. Quinn's not here. We can do what we want.
that's right. Is she still not here? Yes, she's still not here. But I've lost my show notes. Where are the show notes? Here.
Show notes are for suckers. Just riff, baby.
Yeah, there's an eBay auction that has sort of like notes from the from July 1978 release of the disc 2.
Oh, cool.
So they were something that they were provided, and so here it is. Apple Disc 2 application note, July 1978 original, and it's being sold for $59. You can't see all of it, but like a few pages are shown here. And one thing that I thought was sort of interesting is this will be particularly noteworthy to people who have dealt with the Apple Disc 2 mechanism. But the very first note is about connecting your Disc 2 to the card inside.
Right.
It says, if the cable is smashed up against the card, you have put it in the wrong way. If if you do not put it in the right way, it will be catastrophic.
Exactly.
It says considerable physical damage can be done to the disk drive unit and its electronics, which is true. Like it goes pop, and then there's like this little smoke, and then your disk drive doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
If you put it in either if you put it in backwards or if you put it in one pin off, because there was like no guide on this. It's just those little however many pins, and then you have to slot this thing.
And
on
weirdly
top of
though, I've
pins.
never done that. I've never had that experience of getting one of those cards backwards.
I did once. You know what I did? I did once, and when I did it, it was on a Nishida Radio Unisdisk unit. So that was very sad because they were already hard to get even then, and but he was nice. He was great. I told him what I did, and he said, I'll send you a new one.
Oh, nice. I miss the stuff that he made, and I miss him being around producing like magical wares that would be available for a very limited time. You had to leap on and get them.
Yeah. Curtis mentions that the TRS-80 Model 1 also got its expansion interface in 1978. And actually, that was one of the things in here that I was going to
and it's been expanding ever since.
Yeah.
You had one device a year until now. It goes around the globe.
Where is it? Yeah, here. There is, again, throwing the format entirely out the window. Here's a box TRS-80 Model 1 expansion interface.
Cool.
And
I had a Model 1, but I never had an expansion
box. Yeah. So, whatever. The box is whatever it is. It's a cardboard box that was on a shelf in Radio Shack, but it's still pretty cool to have. So it has all the
a lot of the TRS-80 stuff from that era, not the Model like 2s and 3s, the big heavy things, but like the Coco and like a lot of this stuff, it looks much more substantial than it is. You pick it up and you think, is this a fake? I remember every time I pick up my Coco, I'm like, it feels like there should be more to this thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's painted to look metallic. What do they call it? Like Mercedes gray or something?
Yeah, but in plastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you ever had a Model 1? Do you have one now?
I have not. I have a couple of things that are in that line. Well, so like I have the Model 100 and
that's a very different thing.
100, 102, yeah. And I have a 4P, which is the portable version of the TRS-80 Model 4.
Okay.
I sort of felt like this is too much desk space for me to actually have like a Model 3 or Model 4, and a Model 1. Yeah, I don't know. I never quite got to that point. So
sure.
So I'm happy. I'm happy with the 4P. I haven't really done very much with it yet, but it does start. And I have a couple of I have a SD card solution for it and some kind of like a clock thing for it. So I'm all set to start using it.
Say the Coco and of the Model X's, it's only the Model 1 that really appeals to me, and I think just because that's the one I had. So I have the direct nostalgia for that. There is no way to argue that it's better than the Model 3 or whatever. But and yet still, it's the one that appeals to me because it's the one I had. I played games on that computer, so therefore I like it.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to how vintage computers really work.
That's absolutely. One of the Rembrandt Einstein in our comments says, as a C64 guy, the idea of a floppy drive, connected with just a ribbon cable that goes from the computer to the drive is bonkers.
But it was quick. It was so fast.
The drive was fast. The cable was, it's true, fairly flimsy.
Yep. And you just have these exposed pins and you just stick them on, and there you go. Welcome to hobby computing.
Yeah, I think we were talking last time or sometime about just how dangerous computing used to be. All these connectors that have the same pinouts, but the power's in different places.
Yeah, get it right if too bad. Yeah. Barry Bits in the chat says, Vance is saying that it's like Doctor Who, like the best one is the one you started with. Or I would argue, coincidentally, I happen to start with the best one, which is the Fourth Doctor. I will accept no questions. I like my Doctor Who's with big hair, big hat, big scarf, big teeth. That's the proper Doctor. I accept all Doctors. I like all of them, but the Fourth will always be mine.
That's funny. Yeah, I somehow I had forgotten that. So this is Tom Baker, right? I had forgotten that he was only fourth. So what was it?
His first in my heart.
Berkeley, and then Baker, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
So,
did you watch Doctor Who as a kid? Were you a Doctor Who fan when you were young?
Yeah. Because it played on the public television stations.
Yeah.
And actually serial. Yeah. So these back in those days, as probably half the people here know, most of the people here know probably, they were split up into little half-hour chunks. It wasn't just a one story, one episode. So yeah.
And yet, when you watch them now, it is really one maybe 45-minute episode worth of stuff spread over 5 half-an-hour episodes. Watch like, ooh, this is a little slower moving than the modern ones, but still. I got such nostalgia. I still love old Doctor Who stuff. So,
yeah, I found a folder that had a newspaper or like a newsprint thing from, I think it was in Philadelphia. There was a Doctor Who convention. Sometime in the I don't even know. It must have been like the early '80s, and I went and I actually I was a little kid, and I had built a little cardboard canine costume. So
awesome.
I think I was only in there basically long enough to take a photo, but I brought my little cardboard canine costume to the Philadelphia.
That's fantastic.
Whovian Fest. Anyway, Retrocompute. Cool. Anyway, yeah. What else was there that I wanted to say about 1978? I feel like maybe that we might have covered all the things.
We've covered it. We've covered all the good stuff. Yeah. What matters most of all, the big takeaway is Laserdiscs were bad.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah, right. That's. I have nothing else now that I've found the window that has my notes in it. I have nothing else.
Nothing else. And now the next part is items of interest and news. See, I know the format. I've been on the show before.
We already covered. Kay's thing already. But anyway, yes. So items of interest and news. Carrington, you have the first of these.
Probably I do. Oh, great. Okay, yes. I'll see if I can open it up and share this as a link. And while I do so, we've talked about Grace Hopper before, of course. I feel like I should salute whenever I say your name. Right. So where's my tab? So she did a lecture in, when was this lecture? 1982. 2-part lecture, recorded on, and was about computers and the future and people, and it's a Grace Hopper lecture. How interesting would this be? And there's 2 recordings of it, both 45 minutes or something like that. And a person reached out to make a information request, saying, "I'd like to get a copy of these things. They're listed in the catalog. You guys have them. Can I release them? Get a copy of these this lecture? And the response was, no, there's nothing available. And so he said, yeah, there is. It's listed here. You've got there's 2 recordings. They said, oh well, let's expand on that. They are recorded. We do have them, but they are on 2 Ampex 1-inch open reel tapes. And we no longer have the ability to play that, and we have no obligation as the NSA to get the tech to do that. We have to release things if we can, but if we can't listen to it or watch it ourselves, we have no way to fully verify that it does match what you're requesting, and so therefore, too bad, it'll just sit here and never be released. And that's kind of crappy. Like, it turns out, like, I think, because it's not like nobody would be able to do these things, and as is pointed out in the article, it's not that the VTRs that play the 3 different formats, there's only 3 formats for this tape, and VTRs that play each of those are available. Like, you can go on eBay and buy them. So and it's not like they're $20,000 or something. It's a relatively cheap VTR, and yes, it's old technology, but for a couple $100, they could get one of these and digitize it or whatever. And they're just like, well, we only have to release things if we can play them. We can't play them, so therefore, too bad. We're not going to throw it away, but we're going to do nothing about it. And eventually, obviously, it will degrade and be gone. Yeah. And this is a very sad thing. So I do not like the response from the NSA on this.
Yes, that's weird. I had not heard the story before. You know, sort of.
It's a crazy bummer. I'm like, what the heck, man? Like, this is a very major figure in computing, giving a talk. What was the talk? Future possibilities: data, hardware, software, and people. A Grace Hopper thing from 1982. I want to watch this. I want to see it. I want this to exist. This should be a thing that gets saved, and it's super sad that it's just nobody's going to put any effort into it. They have the tape. You're not allowed to get it other than through them, and they say we don't have the VCRs, so too bad. Yeah, as the chat says, get Kay Savitz on this. 100% Kay Savitz should get on this. Come on, Kay.
Yeah. But it really does seem like, you know, the Association for Computing Machinery or whatever, like, you know, who's the, you know, various IEEE organizations, or, you know, whoever's interested in computing history should really, like, you know, mobilize on this.
And hopefully it will, because somebody's made this request and it's a new thing. Like, this is, you know, from a week ago or so. And now that it's out there, maybe a little pressure will be brought, or somebody, the NSA will read it, fine, okay, the nerds are going to complain. Let's just digitize this thing, or just whatever, send it to some place or something, like make some sort of effort to do it. So maybe something will come out of it if a bit of noise gets made, but it's disappointing so far.
Yeah.
It's a bummer.
Well,
so that's my first bit of news. Boo!
Yep. And happily, the next one is almost the same kind of bummer.
Yep. Do it again. Living Community Museum. What do you got?
Yep. I have, yes, exactly. I have, let's see if I can bring this up here. I'm going to take just a second to redo my sharing here. Let's see.
Yeah, you got to hit the show. Take all the seconds you want.
That's right. Which window is it?
It's the one on the left. I can tell.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, this is super annoying. I see. Okay, yeah, got it. Hold on. All right. Here it is. Sorry. All my windows look the same here. All right. Yes. Now, welcome to the end of the part that got cut out. Yep.
It's like it never happened.
Yep. So, right. So the Living Computer Museum in Seattle was a project that Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, had basically sort of put together with pretty much his own funds. So the idea was he was collecting together computing history, and the living part of the Living Computing Museum, Computers Museum, was that the things were kept operational. You could sort of interact with them. And fairly recently, it wasn't so long ago that they added this plus labs designation. So it was the Living Computer Museum plus labs, where there were, they were also, I don't know exactly what the labs were, but it was, we talked actually with Cindy Moya some episodes ago. She was working for living computer museums and labs. But anyway, Paul Allen passed away, and did, I gather, like a very poor job with his will in this, with respect to this. So it was kind of, I think it was taken over by, who was it? Who was it managing the estate? I think it's some relative of his sister, I guess.
Yes, I think that's what I was just thinking. I think,
executor, yeah. And there were a bunch of places in Seattle that he was responsible for. So there's a movie theater and a flying heritage and combat armor museum and some other stuff. And she basically just sort of shut it down. Unclear whether it would reopen. A lot of people are sort of unhappy about that kind of in general, just because there were people who donated stuff to the museum, saying, I'm not sure to what extent people lent stuff to the museum, but certainly people who donated transferred the ownership. They did it because they thought this was a public good. People will be able to use this stuff. But then the place got closed down, and the news, the current-ish news on that is that it's never
they're going to auction everything off. It's never going to open, and they're going to start to auction stuff off.
Yeah. So and you can look at what is the auction called?
This is a stinker. This is what I say.
Yeah.
And this is where we bring up, as promised, Bill Gates. Because if only there was like a guy who was an actual freaking billionaire who might be related in some way, have some association with Paul Allen, and enough money to just like offhandedly sprinkle on this thing and keep it running for 100 years, and just doesn't. With great billionaires comes great irresponsibility or something. It's very, very frustrating that this is happening when it's just because incredibly rich people who made their billions off this are just choosing to do nothing about it.
Right.
And I guess it's all going to get auctioned off and be lost.
And I mean, particularly with Bill Gates, I think it's not what it would take to keep this going would not really affect Bill's life.
No, it would be a rounding error. Nothing to set up an annuity that would just handle this. It's crazy.
So anyway, I'm sure many people were hoping that it would someday reopen under new management and they would get a chance to go, but that is not to be. So, I mean, the things are going to be auctioned. What that means is that they will probably continue to exist. Probably in most cases, they will not be visible to the public.
Yeah, they will exist in the hands of private people.
Yeah,
and like eventually, I don't know. It's sad. Like this thing was a great thing. I never got to go. Well, I mean, I guess I did get to go. I just didn't go, so I missed out by not choosing to get on a plane and do it. I don't know. You think things will be around, and then suddenly they're not.
Yeah, I don't remember actually if it. I think this isn't. I think it's the Computer History Museum that moved from the East Coast to the West Coast. Like there was a big computer museum in Boston that left at some point, and I think that is what the Computer History Museum is now, on the West Coast. I forget where, but California somewhere. So yeah, I don't think that was this.
This is a bummer that this thing's closed. It's not coming back. They had 2 employees kept on board in the meantime, just keeping everything running and keeping everything in good shape. Now they're like, nah, we're not gonna. They blame COVID, saying we shut down because everything was tough during COVID. I'm like, okay, again, billionaires. I don't want to hear your excuses. There's billionaires here, man. One of you should be ethical. Can't one at some point care about something? Billionaires.
Can't live without them. Or wait,
you can. We would all live great without them. I'm saying, my goodness, sure we can. And the thing is, people would have that much money. I know it's the Robin Hood in me speaking, but if you were to siphon off $500 million from them and just not change the number on the bank account, they wouldn't notice. You get all the money in the world, and all the banks have to do is get somebody in there who knows how to make it lie. They'd go to the bank machine, they'd check their balance, and go, oh, yep, still has to fold out 3 times. It's all good. And they'd never know, and we'd have all the museums. What I'm saying is rise up. Rise up, people. Once again, Carrington is bringing up Madame La Guillotine. I can steer any conversation around a revolution. I'm just upset. I mean, it just bugs me
Yeah.
because they're going to auction everything off, which means it's going to go all to private collections. And private collectors also maintain stuff and have things, so it doesn't end up landfill because somebody steps up and buys it. So there's a good side to that too. But it's sad when something was in the public good and then gets taken away from that. So overall, this makes me sad. Unless you're going to buy it all, Paul, and make it all available.
Yeah,
Do it.
I mean,
Do it.
it is if the lottery ever does its thing, that would.
But everybody says that. Even on our chat, people are saying like if like they had the money. Everybody says they'll do these amazing things if they win the lottery, and then nobody does. Does it really change you that much? Like if you become a billionaire, like, oh wait, the genie said I had to be evil. Here's the thing. It's like, what do they know that we don't know, that you have to be monstrous when you're rich? I don't get it.
Right.
There must be a reason, I hope. Anyway, it's closing down. All the news so far is bad. People should be on the show other than Paul and I. We're only bringing the bummers.
Yep. All right. Well, no, actually, I think you have the next thing, and it's not as much of a bummer.
But isn't it? I have opinions. We'll see.
Okay.
So the next thing is Legends of Adventure, which is going to be an upcoming documentary about it's the story of Sierra Online. So we're talking about Ken Williams and the one that I liked better than Ken Williams, Roberta Williams. And so this is cool. Sierra stuff and point and click games, right in my wheelhouse. I'm very excited about that. And this got funded in like 24 hours. So it's fully funded. It's on Backer Kit. So you can still contribute and you can still get it. You want to get a Blu-ray, you want to contribute to this thing, but it's going to be funded. It looks like it's going to come out. So it's like a done deal. They're now into stretch goals. There's still some opportunity to like get involved. You can get a Blu-ray. You can do a bunch of contributions for things. They're just, the more money they get, they're going to do more interviews. They're going to have a different musical track or something. So they just kind of make it better now in that stage. So people are very excited, and it did get funded. So that's all good. And if I hadn't read his recent book, I would be very excited about this. But I read his book, and it changed everything for me because he's a dillweed, and he spoke really badly about his wife in the book, about how she's a crappy programmer and is only good because he was there to solve all her problems. And I was like, toxic, like crazy, man. So I wonder if that's going to come across in this documentary, or if it's going to make him sound good, because his own book that he wrote made me think that he's a weenie. so we'll see. I'm still probably going to watch this documentary though, because I'm really interested in the topic. So I'm glad it's getting made, but I don't know if I'm a fan of him.
Right. Yeah, I think it's true. It would be nice.
Did you
to
read
hear
the
from
book?
her
What is it?
about
Not all
No,
fairy
I
tales have happy endings. Yeah.
No, I think
I read it and I was like, what the heck, man?
Here, but yeah.
Yeah. That's the picture of the guy. That's the man himself we're showing right now.
Yeah.
See, it's a story that has good guys, bad guys, and lots of crazy stuff. Which one are you, Ken? Which one are you?
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies? Ken needs an "Are we the baddies" moment. Ken should step up with all his Sierra money and buy that. I guess Sierra actually kind of dissolved, so I don't think you could buy the museum now. So I forgive you for that, Ken. For that. But it did get funded. And the reality is, I'm a huge fan of point-and-click adventures back in the day. The King's Quest stuff, like all that. Sierra Online made some really amazing point-and-click adventures that were formative to the genre and to young Carrington's game playing as a kid. I know so many people who played the King's Quest things and loved them. I love them. So I'm really actually very interested in this documentary. And it's not being made by them. It's other people doing it. So it's not like I'm giving my money directly to old Ken there.
Right.
So I'm probably going to back it. I talk a big game, but I really want to watch this thing.
Yeah. So is it available for more if you don't back it, or is it just only available if you back it?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of always assume that things will be available. But I don't know. And so you can get the digital version for $50, or if you want the Blu-ray or more, it'll cost you $119. And then there's also, I think $119 only gets you it gets you the Blu-ray. And then you can spend up to, $10,000 on this thing if you want to be an executive producer.
Ah, excellent. Cool.
Yeah. Speaking of movies getting back though. My favorite series of movies is a thing called The Gamers. Love it, love it, love it. Oh my gosh. If you like movies about like people playing Dungeons and Dragons, the whole series is The Gamers, Hands of Fate, and The Gamers, Gamers Darkness Rising, and Hands of Fate. And the last one turns out to be like 10 years ago or something and they've done Journey Quest, and like the same group of people have made a bunch of things, and everything they make is amazing. And they're getting the whole gang back together to make a fourth movie from The Gamers. And it was on Kickstarter, and it got funded with a day to go. I was so worried about it. And I just threw like a bunch of money at it. I'm so excited. And it's going to come out like a year and a half from now, or whatever, end of 2026. And so I can't die until then. I'm effectively immortal by force of will until that movie comes out. That's how it works. So it got funded.
I forget if you were talking about that here.
Oh my gosh!
I heard you talking about.
I talked about it online because I just wanted to. I was like so thrilled it's been funded. So I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Cool. Excellent.
Everyone should go and watch all the first movies. I consider the first three one big movie that I make my friends sit down and watch as like a single 12-hour film.
That's right.
I have a lot of friends.
Right. Well, it's the sort of litmus test for friends.
Exactly. You want to hang out with this boy. You got to like my computer vintage bags, and then I use that to lure people to my house and say, "Let's watch a movie."
It's only 12 hours long.
Yeah. That's what it's like to hang out with me in real life, folks. So,
excellent.
That's what I got. Cool. What do you got? What do you got to compare with all that news I'm bringing to the table?
Well, let's see. So this is not quite the same sort of news, but there was a video not too long ago, as we record, that of basically somebody bought an Apple One, and the person, whoever this is, at Sayaka's digital, what is that? Attic.
She has like a Russian-y sort of accent. I thought I watched the video.
Yeah. And it's pretty cool, actually. So, I mean, I think part of why I wanted to highlight it, I guess, is that it got a little bit of negative reaction just based on nothing, based on it sort of looking like not having the title that one might like to have. People.
Well, I think the word unboxing threw people. Like I think the word unboxing sets up an expectation for what this video will be. So I was like, really? There's like a sealed one they're going to open up? That's crazy. That's not what happens in this video. Yeah. But you do get to see a lot of the stuff that I hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what else. What other video you would use? Okay, so it says Italian. Okay, boy, it's not sound Italian to me. This video is 100% worth watching. I really liked watching it.
Yeah. So basically, somebody bought. There's an Apple One registry, and so they bought Byte Shop 25, number 18 in the registry. This is the one that the collector bought. So let's see what's the guy's name? The guy's name is Marco Bollioni, founder and president of BasicNet. He's the one who bought this. And so what we're looking at is we're looking at an ad is what we're looking at. But so what we're looking at is a video of basically having the engineers check it and sort of opening it up and some really
there's Waz's business card. I got one of those.
Yeah, and like the tape that went along with it.
That's the stuff that I hadn't seen before. I hadn't seen the note that comes with it. I hadn't seen the cassette, and it's all out like in little storage boxes that you can see through, and it's fascinating to see those things.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing that struck me about this, is that you could. It really kind of brings it to life a little bit more than like the still photographs of the Apple One that we've all seen. Mm-hmm. And so there's people doing the technology tests to make sure that everything's gonna not smoke. And she actually does interviews with the new owner, and then with a couple of other people. There's someone who is, I think, one of the founders of Android, Arduino. Yeah, one of the co-founder of Arduino, talking about the place of this computer in history. And so, I mean, it's actually the title. I think the title maybe doesn't do it a service in a sense, because it's a much deeper, better video than it looks like if you only read the title.
Agreed. And I think it was a great video, and I was really glad to watch it. And has a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I've seen so many photos of the Apple One. I got to see an Apple One in person, but like in a chat saying like, did it come in a box? Yeah, there's the box there that you see that it came in. Like you see the actual, like here's the shipping box basically. It was sent in. Like this is the box, and they have the notes and the cassette tape and like a whole bunch of stuff that I definitely had never seen before. I liked it. I like this a lot. I thought it was a fantastic video.
Yeah. So definitely go out and take a look at it if you have any interest in this kind of thing. And actually, it also reminded me of, I think it was maybe I lose track of what we talked about recently because we record and then I edit one like three times ago.
And also, so, your mind is going slowly.
And there's also that, yeah, slowly. But I think we talked about sometime recently the Sega AI computer, and it was either a recent recording or something was recently released to the feed. But the same person at Sayaka's Digital Attic did a video about that. So we talked a little bit about what it looked like, but I don't think we talked about this video. And here you can actually see some of the weirdness that it was. I mean, like, so I think we talked about this a little bit, that like it had a like a keyboard connector in the front, and there's some, it's a pretty weird object. But anyway, I thought this was a nice sort of callback to a previous topic that we had as well. So once you're done watching the Apple One, and once you hear or talk about the Sega AI, you can also take a look at this video to sort of see it in high definition.
Yeah, and check out the channel. Like, highly recommend it. I watched the Apple One video and I was like, this is great. I also heard like people saying, oh, they don't like it or poo-pooing it or whatever, the video. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? This is fantastic. It was just informative. I love seeing the stuff I hadn't seen before. I'm like, no notes. Everything was great. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. All right. And I think that is
the end of the show. Thanks for joining us, folks.
Yep. And what is it? It's probably about time for Quinn to show up.
Yeah, any moment now.
Yep. All right. Let's see. So, right. I guess we've now finished our items of interest and news, and now we can move on to a word from our sponsor.
Who is our sponsor?
I have not selected.
Yes. Oh, our sponsor is unknown.
Yeah. Maybe it's the estate of Paul Allen.
Well, people in the chat are talking about how the person in the videos we're just talking about, how her shirt game is on point because he wears amazing shirts. So you can pick a retro shirt. No. I took a cue from one of our gift guide things. I've had a few people do. It was an idea from one of the very first episodes. We were coming up with creative gift guide things.
Oh yeah,
I think it was even my suggestion that a thing to do is buy a bunch of vintage magazines and then like you mail them out to somebody once a month. So you basically give them a subscription to a magazine from the 80s. And I've had a couple of people do that for me now, and it's great. It's like the best gifts I ever get. And like once a month, like a computer magazine from 1981 will show up, and I just absolutely love this. It works out so well. And a friend of my brother-in-law was looking for a fun gift for him, and he's super into cars. I said, you know what you should do? Like, just go on eBay or whatever and buy up a bunch of car magazines from when he was in high school. Get like a run of like 1985 car magazines, or like hot rod magazines or something, and send those. And so, been doing that lately. Best gift. He's just like, this is the best thing I've ever received in my life. Like, it is such a cheap, easy way to give somebody who's like into an old thing. The most fun ever. Like when I have received these things, it is the best. My favorite gifts ever. So I still think this is the neatest idea to give somebody a gift. I've loved it when I got it, and everybody I know loves it when they get this kind of thing.
Yeah. It was, in fact, at least in our gift guide, it is the very first thing.
See,
the very bottom.
Yes. It has stood the test of time, baby. Yeah, do a fake vintage magazine subscription. So
and the second one was Colossus the Forbidden Project on Laserdisc.
Oh God, nope! I have the Blu-ray for that is really good. I've done a Blu-ray, and it's an excellent Blu-ray. That's a great movie that you shouldn't flip over. You can't get up and flip that over. Colossus will kill you. The chat is saying that didn't Earl do that? Could be. That sounds like Earl is a good guy. He'd come up with that kind of idea. I like it. I say it's Earl's idea.
Yeah. Okay. That's. But whatever it was a good idea. Whoever's it was.
100%.
Yeah. However, I do have a gift idea.
What is your gift idea?
I think the thing that we didn't know, and also I have a lawnmower going by, but the thing I think we didn't know was who was going to be the sponsor.
The sponsor.
But
Was sponsored by Gift Ideas.
yeah. So, and we're back. So the retrocomputing gift idea
never left.
It's like we never left. This time is the SC131 pocket-sized Z180 ROM WBW CPM computer kit. So this, I found one of these. I was sort of like looking through for eBay auctions, and I found someone who's selling one of these. And it's quite possible you would want to buy the eBay auction one. I mean, that's your option. I don't think it was particularly more expensive than this, but it caused me to go actually see if you could get your own kit, because the eBay one was built. But so this, what it is, it's just it's little. I think somewhere there's a picture of it next to a CF card, so you can see. It's a very little box that runs CPM. It's got a sort of newer version of a Z80 in it, a Z180, and it has CPM and ROM. That's what the ROM WBW refers to. And you can just build a little thing that can run CPM stuff. So, and it's a pretty easy kit too, I think. And you also have a lot of color choices. So if you want like green or red panels, the panels can also say either Elite or 0.018 gigahertz. But anyway, it looks like they look kind of cute and cool, and probably fairly easy to build and not too expensive, $80. I think it may ship from the UK, but yeah, so $80 plus some shipping. But looks pretty fun, actually. So that is the gift idea recommendation. And actually, there is a video by Jazzy Jane, which I think that's linked here to the
like a DJ name.
Yeah. Anyway, but this is okay.
This is an ad.
While we watch an ad. Okay.
Ads.
So this is somebody who basically goes through, gets the kit and then builds it, so you can sort of see what goes into it. There's a moderate amount of soldering, but not a whole lot. And then so if you're interested in building one, you can also sort of follow along with this video. It sort of tells you how long it takes to so only a couple of hours if you're not totally new at soldering. So anyway, that's the gift idea. I think there's actually some other stuff that is on the same site. I guess I didn't mark it down, but the SE131 is one of several possible things you can get. You can get a sort of more elaborate motherboard that it's kind of compatible with the RC 2014 project stuff. So there's an RC 2014 kit thing that has sort of a backplane and a bunch of modular pieces you can put in. This particular little kit that we're having as a gift guide is not really expandable in any way. So it's the Apple IIc of the line, I guess. But anyway, I will leave it at that, I think. But $80, did I say that? If I didn't, yep. $80 plus shipping from the UK, so it's not out of range.
Cool.
Yep.
I dig it.
Okay, let's see. Now, I guess once you're done buying little Z180 projects, we can turn to
I'm done.
eBay. And you finished.
I'm already done.
Yeah. No, you can run what, WordStar, right? WordStar, and I think some Infocom games. Okay, but anyway, on to eBay. Carrington has the first couple of these.
Oh, I do. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is kind of neat. It's called the Express Exchange. Am I sharing the screen? Yeah, I'm sharing the screen. So this is I hadn't heard of this before. So the Express Exchange is like, and it's X asterisk press and X asterisk change. Not great naming. This is one of those things that was like telex, like you get your news streamed off a thing, like kind of before the internet. And this is one where you could hook up directly to like a satellite feed, but most people would get it by subscribing to something through their TV channel. So there's another one of those where if your local carrier offered it, you would have to get a device that would go into your old 8-bit computer, and this is the Apple II one, that would then hook up to grab news feeds from the TV channel, like embedded in it. So we've talked about this kind of thing before, and I hadn't heard about this one. So, and this is one, it's open box, but everything is still sealed. Now, obviously, this is no longer broadcast, so this would not be useful at all. But it's neat. Like, if you collect this kind of thing or are interested, this is a very cool, very unused one. Well, the box is open, like everything is sealed. It's $250 or best offer. And if you have an interest in the things where you would get like the Associated Press news feed in a telex style onto your old computer, this is one of the ones we did it. This is the Apple II version. It's neat. I don't know. I find this stuff fascinating. Yeah. It's not useful today. But a lot of things on eBay are not. Buying a modem today is not useful. Lots of things are not useful. It must be useful. It's been a year since I was useful. I still have value, baby. Collect me.
Yeah, interesting. No, I feel like I've seen X-Star Press before, but I can't remember what context. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, and the Exchange one was the version that you would hook up to an Apple II to get the stuff off the TV. So there was another version you would hook up instead through a serial port to a like a satellite thing where you would subscribe to the satellite feed instead. So it looks like I'm reading about this too. And we'll have a link to the Wikipedia site if people are super interested in this or whatever. I just find that the whole idea is all these things people tried like before the internet, like let's get your news feed, and like the idea that I'm going to sit down, I'm going to look at my stocks on my fancy computer, and like it's just, don't use ticker tape anymore. We're going to have this on my Apple II through a substream on the TV. It was so onerous. But this stuck around. It was like it came out in like 86 or something and stuck around in 96. So it stuck around for a while. Things stick around, man.
Yeah.
And then it tried to get open sourced, but I don't know whatever came of that. So I don't think this can actually be useful nowadays. It's just a collector's item. So the question is, Paul, do you have one? Do you need one? Are you going to buy it?
I don't think
you don't have one.
Honestly, and
the Google Wacko
maybe
options.
It's Express. Okay, like let me search my database here. Okay, it doesn't look like I do.
So you need this. $250.
Maybe I do.
Or best offer. If Earl was here, he'd tell you how best offers are the best things. He loves a best offer.
That's right. Well, I'll think about it.
Yeah, you'll think about it. And while you're thinking about that, I'll tell you about my next. These auction choices get worse and weirder as we go today. So just so everyone braces themselves. My next choice is the Apple Bunny. And this is an adorable little thing. Like computers at one point, there's features in our computers that we take for granted. You might think I'm talking about like a mouse or color. No, I'm talking about keys that would repeat. So there was a time when you would hold down a key and it would say, what do you want from me? I already displayed the E or whatever. So if you wanted things to be able to repeat for gaming or for spreadsheets or whatever, you could add the Apple Bunny. And so the Apple Bunny, this lovely little thing here, would enhance your Apple II or Apple II Plus. And it took no soldering. You would just like stick in this chip, and then basically it stood between the keyboard and everything else. And then when you could turn it on and off, it says on the back, I think you press control something, like control open Apple, and then turns it on, and then what is it? Hold down the control key and then press shift. You turn it on. That's how you turn it on, turn it off. And so this is, you would think, in box, because it's kind of in box until you look at the picture from the side. So in box, but then when you scroll down, you look at a side photo. Oh no, the sides have been ripped off. So it's in.
Oh, I see.
It's in 3/4 of a box. So whoever opened it up very carefully ripped off the sides on the left and right. I guess so it could fold flat and it could kind of keep. So it's in most of the box.
Ah, interesting.
And so it's $100 to make your Apple II have a repeating ability, but it is a contemporary vintage solution for that. So if you got an old Apple II or Apple II Plus and you want like a super old model and you want a key repeater, this is a contemporary solution for that you could say, my Apple II has this, and you could have bought it at the time and you would have most of the box for collecting. Bet you don't have one of these, Paul.
Oh, but I do.
You do? Do you have all the box?
Yeah. Well, that's actually what I was just about to. I was looking while you were talking. I was looking for my my photos because I do have
Oh,
the photo the side. So let's see.
yeah, like the chat says, no unboxing required. Like this is the best.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't unbox, you just tilt it. It's like, oh, I can't
I
sell you
never
this.
did.
You've already got one.
Yeah, I never did install it on anything.
You didn't. That's a missed opportunity. Maybe this one that you buy will be the one you actually install.
Right. Let's see if I can. But all right, present here. Yeah, I guess that's true. If I have a spare.
Yeah, right. Then you can install it, no risk. Get those repeat keys for game. Hey, I mean, the box itself really talks about using this in like for oh, look at you with your sides of the
side
box. That's pretty fancy full box shot there. Nice.
Yep.
And it's funny because when I read this, or when I think of this thing, I think, well, this is for gaming. This is obviously for gaming.
Right.
But the packaging just talks about using it for like spreadsheets. I'm like, I don't think so, dude. This is 100% to get a high score. I need all the help I can get to get a high score.
I think the I mean, I could see that being super annoying in spreadsheets. So if you have to sit there and bang on it to get to move over to column L, but yeah, the Apple III had a joystick that had. I mean, they're sort of hard to get, but it had an auto fire, which they said, like I don't know what they thought they were doing because it wasn't really for games.
I was gonna say it wasn't really a computer that was going to be like a real game focused computer.
Yeah, I mean, so this was for driving your cursor around or whatever, but it had like an auto fire.
Okay,
so I don't know what that would have been for. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah. So,
well, anyway, my second choice, which you've already got all of, was to try to sell you 90% of a mostly inboxed Apple Bunny. And if I can't sell you this, then we're going to go a little less retro than the 80s. And the problem is people younger than me, which is statistically most people, will want to talk to me about how the 80s weren't as great as I remember them being. Because I remember the 80s as being like the ultimate decade. The 80s was the best decade. I will Tom Baker's best Doctor Who, the 80s were the best decade. That's how it is. Coincidentally, when I was in high school, was coincidentally the greatest decade of humanity. I just worked out that way. I got very lucky. But people younger than me, and I got friends who were younger than me, will all talk about how in the 90s was so cool. And with their like edgy stuff and everything was like looking edgy and all weird and Wired magazine, and they'll every time I watch Alias, it's like super edgy looking, and the credits don't happen for the first 50 minutes or something ridiculous. But my counter to the awesome edginess of the 1990s would be the complete dancing baby screensaver for Windows 95. Yes. And so I remember the 90s as being this ridiculous time for stuff like this. The dancing baby meme. It wasn't called a meme at the time, but let's face it, it was a meme. Do you remember this stupid dancing baby that would appear in the edges of things? It really took off. The 90s loved it. They thought they were grunge. They weren't grunge. The 90s was dancing baby meme. And this is the screensaver for Windows 95, the ultimate screensaver for Windows 95. Dancing baby.
I mean, for me, the reason the most sort of obvious placement of the dancing baby was it had a recurring role in Ally McBeal.
That's where I think it started. For me, it was the dancing baby from Ally McBeal, and then just like took off and was everywhere, including this CD-ROM with the dancing baby screensaver. This is the kind of thing you'd go into a Walmart and go into a store, and there'd be all these like games that were point and click games, adventure games. And as a Mac user, I'd always look for the Win and Mac. I'm like, oh, and Mac, baby, I get to play a game too. Then there was all this stuff that was Windows only, but mostly it was this quality. Dancing baby. That's the 90s, the ultimate expression of 90s supposed coolness. Take that, young people.
Yeah.
So those are my choices. Look, there you go.
The Hamster Dance webpage. I did turn off the sound, but everybody can sing along, I think.
Everybody can sing along to the Hamster Dance. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. The Dancing Baby screensaver was my last chance to try to sell you something. That's what I think you should get, Paul. Bet you don't have this one.
I do not. Yeah, $29. It's pretty reasonable. I'll think about it.
It's reasonable, very reasonable to have this on your computer. It feels like a virus that you're intentionally buying. This says the complete Dancing Baby screensaver. Like that, it feels like a Dancing Baby thing would be a virus you would get, not a thing you would pop into a store and purchase for $10 on disc and then run through as an installer.
Oh, right. Let's
There
see.
you go. I have flying toast. See, flying toasters, cool. Dancing baby, uncool. This is where I stand on things.
That's right. Very,
I have very
very,
strong
very clear, very
opinions.
defined. Yeah.
So, what about you? What could you possibly have found on eBay
I have
that
found.
could come close to the glories that I found?
I'm not sure that I can,
You
but
can't.
I
You
did
know you
find some
can't.
things.
Take your best
However,
shot.
yeah, I think it was last time that I did very poorly. So I think I did better than last time.
Okay.
Um,
We'll
so
see. I'll judge.
yeah, okay, we'll be the judge of this. So this was the first thing I have here is Apple II Millikan math sequences discs.
So
And,
it's Apple II. It's got a rainbow but it's not the Apple II rainbow. It's
yeah,
just kind of like,
it's just
it's a rainbow. We don't care about our art.
rainbow attempt.
Okay.
Kind of goes from red to blue. Um,
Kinda.
the thing that's interesting about these, I mean, otherwise math sequences might not be so interesting. Apple II even might not be so interesting. What's interesting about these is that these are the discs are actually printed. These we're looking at the covers of these discs. The
Oh,
discs
I
are
thought they were in a sleeve. Like
rainbow
that's the
on the front.
actual
Yeah,
five
yeah,
and a quarter floppy disk is a printed disk. You don't see that much.
yeah. So I thought that was it's
That must have been
red in
expensive.
one corner, blue in the other corner, has a rainbow transition in between.
Hmm.
And it's white on the back. Um, you can sort of see the printing over the color overprint, I guess, on the back corner. So there are a few sort of decorated discs out there for various things, but it was not common, and I'm sure it was expensive. And I don't know why Millikan thought math sequences merited this, but there we go. It's probably not worth the $100 that they're asking, but uh, you could complain to yourself, I guess, because there's no make offer.
My question is, so it's math sequences, multiplication, Apple II family, and then it's got like a red R in a circle. Are these like
I
R-rated
hope
math
so.
sequences?
Yeah.
Like
I hope
very
so.
sexy 2 meets like what is up with the rated
Multiplication.
R?
Yeah. Good question.
Oh, is it arithmetic? Is it one of the 3 R's? Is that what's
I hope
happening
so,
here?
yeah. Yeah, and I don't understand why integers doesn't get an R.
Integers knows what it did.
Right. Anyway, yes, that's okay. So that's an interesting artifact, probably not worth buying. But I actually hadn't seen these before. I'd seen some other kind of like decorated ones, but I hadn't seen these particular discs
No,
before.
$100 though, but just for 4 floppies. Ugh.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if it's
For
rare,
elementary school math.
boy, you got to really want these things or want to preserve them for that money.
Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, here. I thought this was sort of surprising and interesting. This is a Apple 410 color plotter, new inbox repair
I
kit.
love the plotter.
Yeah, so the plotter itself, and maybe I have it somewhere. There must be a photo out there of the plotter, but I will not look for it now.
Do you have a plotter? Do you have the
I
Apple
do.
plotter?
Yeah, I have one.
Holy moly! I've never even seen one in real life.
Yeah, they look like. Well, maybe actually I can try to pull this up. Apple color plotter 410. Wikipedia has a has an article. Let's look
Okay.
at Wikipedia here. So it looks actually quite a lot like an ImageWriter 1.
But it's been carved out. It's like an image writer run that's missing the middle chunk. It's like the left and right of an image writer run, and the front has been slammed flat.
Right.
But same coloring. It's got that image writer feeling about it, very much so. But I've never seen one in real life. These things appeal to me a lot. I love plotters.
Yeah, and so it has like four color pens that rotate on a little wheel. You can put whatever colors you want in there, and then various things on the Apple II can drive it. It's a some sort of serial thing. And in fact, actually, at Kansas Fest, so Kansas Fest is about to happen as we're recording. I mean, like
Indeed.
like later today, before I sleep again, I will be getting on a plane to head there, and there's going to be a presentation on the Apple Color Plotter 410 there, so it'll be shown, demoed what it can do. So, but anyway, yeah. So I thought the plotter itself is interesting and unusual. The existence of the repair kit is probably even more unusual. So this is something that the dealers would get that has just sort of like replacement parts that might break. So
Okay. So if you had one of these, this would be a way to keep it maintained.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's like a logic board and transformer and a keyboard panel and a cable pulley and so forth. and just comes in the box with all the pieces. So it probably is. I mean, it's an interesting artifact just as an artifact. It might actually be useful to have if you have a plotter that you might need to fix. Chances are good that you're going to not need 90% of what's in this box, but it's the only place you're going to find that other 10%.
Yeah, exactly. Without, I guess, getting another plotter to rip apart,
Right. Yeah.
because they don't come up much, so it's cool.
Yeah.
This I suspect this is an incredibly rare item.
Yeah, and they're asking $250 for it, or make an offer. And maybe I should reveal. I put this in my watch list, and I guess I'm not signed in, so you can't see it. But just as we had talked about in a previous episode, almost immediately I was given a lower offer.
Oh, okay.
Like as soon as I started watching it, I got a direct email saying, "Well, I can sell it to you for a little less." So anyway, yeah, we'll see.
Well, you have a plotter. Is it tempting to pull the
plotter.
trigger on this so that you have a working plotter?
It's a little bit tempting. I haven't tested the plotter yet, so it might work. I do have some pens, and yeah, I might be okay.
I like the idea that we talked about last time for people that were listening to the last episode. If you were in the chat, then maybe it would hurt, but I don't think it's come out yet, where somebody does art by putting pens in plotters and does this amazing artwork with stuff. And I still think about that, like using a plotter to do other things, and has a whole site about putting the pens in on certain angles and how to figure it out using fountain pens and plotters, and makes really beautiful things. You could do the same thing here. You could start making art. It's going to unlock a chunk of your soul, Paul. How can you afford not to do this?
That's right. No, it's priced about right. I mean, it's not outrageous, and it's not trivial.
Right.
So,
but I think if you wanted this thing,
yeah.
even at the $250, like, where else are you going to get one? Like, you pay him this, or you're living without it.
Yep, exactly. Right. Yeah. Next thing I had,
cool.
Actually, what was kind of amusing is that I had also found the Apple Bunny.
You picked the Apple Bunny too.
Yeah. But
that's funny.
Yep.
Oh, a FujiNet.
Yep. So the I don't know if this counts as like one of the bingo things. Probably not exactly, but FujiNet is. We must have talked about this almost every episode, but it's kind of a it's supposed to be a multi-platform online protocol for doing various things. Largely it's about sort of interacting with the internet, but there are FujiNet servers. You can download software. So I've got a FujiNet for the Apple that you can contact a FujiNet server and download Total Replay, which is like this collection of
which is a great collection of games.
All the games.
Oh my gosh, it's such a great collection. If you have an Apple II, you need Total Replay. Holy moly!
But I mean, it's a really interesting way to interconnect. And one of the most interesting things, I mean, this really was kind of born on the Atari, which you can detect from the name.
The Fuji.
Yeah. But it's available now on a lot of different platforms. The one I've brought up here is the one for the Coleco Atom. So if you wanted to get a FujiNet Wi-Fi peripheral for the Coleco Atom, you can spend $50 on this eBay auction. And there have been 8 sold, 5 are available right now. So like there's a small run of them.
And FujiNets go out. Like you go try to buy them, and they'll be like, no, out of stock. Like FujiNet is not a always available thing. So
yeah. And I think, I mean, the dream, or at least a dream for this is actually sort of cross-platform interaction. That you could play your whatever Othello game with people who are also running an Atom or a Atari or whatever. But I think the development is going strong, but I think it's still lagging a little bit behind the hardware. And once stuff starts really going, I think it'll snowball. I mean, like a lot of people have these now, so there is a fairly wide audience for this sort of thing. So. And as more stuff gets made, that you could use it for, that'll.
If you Coleco Atom, things you can use it
for.
What
else are you going to
do? Fairly limited. You get some Coleco games, but otherwise, come on. There's right now on eBay a very nice new in box Coleco Atom. If people are looking, I almost picked it as one of my choices. There's a nice one right now. Yeah.
I wonder if I can find it quickly enough to put it on the screen. Coleco Atom. I think, well, maybe is it? Did it come with a box? The one that
Yeah,
the one that you
it's
found? Okay.
yeah. There's a. I'll find it. I'll stick it in the show notes, people. I'll find it. I know. There's a because I think I had bookmarked it as a. Oh, I could pick this. Then I'm like, I don't want to. Why am I recommending ColecoAtom? Who needs that? Here it is. Nitrate Fusion, ColecoVision Atom, new in box with 30 games. $500 though. Here, I'll stick it on and share for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm a sharer. I give, and you don't appreciate it.
One thing about, unfortunately, the reality of the editing of this podcast is that quite often I'm a couple months behind. I'm hoping to catch up here soon, but I say that every time. But so what that means is that a lot of times we will talk about auctions, we will show them on the stream, and then they will be like completely gone by the time I actually post the show notes. So, that is okay. So that one did not come up though when I
so it's $500, which ain't cheap, but it's a new in box. You get 30 games. It's like if you wanted to get into a ColecoAtom, like this is as nice as I've seen as a thing. Like it's just got everything. But it's not even buy it now. Cool. Its starting bid will be $500. So
okay.
it ain't going to be cheap, I think. But there's no bids at the moment.
Yep.
So
it might still be there.
So nobody's pulled the trigger.
It's the feed.
Exactly, or it might get redone, and you can always do a make offer or something, as Earl says. But if you're interested in a ColecoAtom, like this is as nice an auction as I have seen. If you want one from a collecting standpoint, if you want to get the box, if you don't care about the box, you can pick one of these up for half that price.
Yeah, I've always been sort of curious about them without having a deep interest.
See, I'd rather just have a ColecoVision, to be honest. The only thing I would do with a ColecoAtom is I would play ColecoVision games. So and ColecoVisions are cheap and readily available. So I would get one of those. I'm all about the games, baby.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. What is the next thing?
Here, what else you got?
I'll do this.
You will.
So the next thing I have is a Nabu ROM WBW option card for the whatever. Okay, it's a ROM.
I don't know what this is.
Okay,
help me.
Let me try to say it again. It is a ROM WBW option card for the Nabu, and so we talked, like the gift idea was this like little CPM computer, and it had in it ROM that has CPM. So what this is a implementation of that same ROM, the CPM ROM, that you can put in your Nabu computer. And I think we've talked about the Nabu.
Wasn't the Nabu the thing that somebody found a ton of boxes of?
Yeah, exactly. It was
somebody in Canada, right? Somebody said, I've got 500 new in-box versions of the Nabu.
Yeah. Yeah. So it, so I think several of us, I think Blake has one. I have one. I think Earl has one. It was this, someone found in their, I don't know, some warehouse or whatever, hundreds of boxes of these new in box, never opened, 1980s era computers that were originally going to be sort of on a cable network. So there's the main box, there was a keyboard, there was a cable interface, and once they'd been sort of discovered, and sort of people started talking about them, there was another interface developed that allows you to sort of connect over the internet. So I've used mine a little bit, to enter the chat room and say hello to someone on the other coast, but that's about all I've done with it. But it does have the ability to expand. So you could, I think you can expand to get a disk drive. They didn't actually. I think the disk drive was never marketed for real, but I mean, like they're sort of internal prototypes that were then cloned. Okay. And so what this auction is for an option card that goes in the slot in there somewhere, that will basically allow you to run CPM stuff. So this is why did I make this? I wanted to turn my Nabu personal computer into a fully standalone CPM computer. And there's a switch. You can switch it. You can sort of like turn it on and off. If you turn it off, it's just a Nabu. If you turn it on, you have the ability to use the CPM. And also, I guess it actually looks like there's a F18A on a Tang Nano. What it says, Tang Nano 9K chip. So I guess this is that. See, I thought this had whatever chip the F-18A is emulating on board, but maybe this is like a faster version of it or something. At any rate, it's got a couple of extra things. So it looks kind of neat. I'm actually a little bit tempted. It's not, it's $150. There are 4 available. So I don't yet know what I want to do with my Naboo, but this, who knows?
I swear more people have bought Naboos in the last couple of years than did at the time.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And now there's expansions for it. Like who would have thought? We're living in the Naboo timeline.
I see. And in the chat, we're learning that the F-18A is providing enough graphics sort of oomph to do 80 columns. So normally would only be able to do 40. And CPM would be less than pleasant in 40. Though I think actually the Osborne 1 had some sub 80 number of characters. I forget. I don't know if it was
tell?
40.
You'd have to lean in so close.
Right.
It had
but I think
it was pixel.
It actually did some weird, like, you'd look at the left side then the right side. It was really very weird to interact with because it still could do 80 columns, but not at once.
The more I learn about that thing, the more I don't understand anyone liking it. What do people see in the Osborne that I don't see? I don't understand.
Right. It does. Saying that reminds me of, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to recapture this quite properly, but it's a Stephen Wright joke about like going to a convenience store. It says like open 24 hours and seeing the guy lock up and leave, and he says, "I thought you were open 24 hours." He's not in a row. Anyway, Stephen Wright is excellent.
Yes,
everyone
agreed.
I used to have. It was like an HBO special that was also a album. Like you could get I Have a Pony, and I had that thing memorized. I'm sure of it. Why you'd listen to a bunch of jokes over and over again, I don't know, but I did.
Whatever. I read the same books.
It was still
over
funny.
And over, watch the same movies over and over again. It's still funny. Still tickles me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Here, let's see how we're doing time wise.
We're doing great.
Right. Yeah.
We're rocking it.
I thought this was interesting. It is a Apple Newton 2000/2100 internal fitting USB-C connectivity board.
Oh,
so what it does, you can buy it and put it inside your Newton, and it basically gives you a USB-C connector for your Newton.
To do what? For power or to?
Well, I don't think it's power, but I do think it's all the serial stuff that you would have normally done. So you can sort of like load software onto it, take software off.
Okay.
But with a sort of like a modern connector.
Nice.
And yeah, so you can get this. It's 49 euros. Ships from I don't know where, but somewhere where they ships from Sweden. And I think actually I had. I located the source of this, and I guess I didn't bring that up. But there's a place that you can get it.
Well, they even put the Newton logo on
computers. There. Yeah. Newton Store. Let's see. Let me just quickly see if I can find this again. Newtonstore.com.
I wanted the Newton to be a thing. Like I liked it. I had a Newton. I wanted it to be better than it was. Like it was like this hint of something that could be amazing. And I just like Quinn always says the same thing. Like she just spent a year just insisting that she's going to take her notes in university on this. And it's just like, it never really fulfilled the promise. But boy, howdy, I loved my Newton when I had it.
Yeah. It's newtonsales.com is the source of this this item, the eBay item. So you could, if you wanted to, buy it from this store, or you can buy the eBay one. I don't think they were significantly different cost-wise, but there's maybe a little bit more description of what you would do with it if you go to newtonsales.com. And they also have some other stuff. So they have, there's a 2100 and eMate docking station. This one I actually do think seems somewhat interesting. So I think you can charge it. Any of these sort of later Newton things, you can charge it. You can do, serial communication. There's a little YouTube video that sort of shows you how to use it. And it doesn't tell you how much it costs until you hit buy. And when I hit buy, let's see if will I dox myself? No, $240. So So that's a little steep, but still kind of cool. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, Newton still has a place in my heart for the Newton still.
Yeah. One thing that I think is funny about the Newtons is that if you've ever tried to take a picture of one, you are basically taking a picture of a mirror.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't realize.
Very difficult to photograph those things because it's just a picture of you taking a picture of it. There's no glare guard at all. Do I want to keep going?
Yeah, you do. Do it.
What else?
Do it.
Here's another thing. So this is it's a little. So it's listed as a Tandy Model 100 102 ROM. What it is a little. So in the Model 100 102, there's a little spot in the back where you can put ROMs. Actually, I think there'll be a photo of this. Yeah, right. So there's a little panel you can open in the back, and you can put stuff in there. And there were a number of ROMs that you could get. So there were I think there's like a word processor thing. Actually, I guess if I look at this, so yeah, Super ROM, Ultimate ROM, Fourth, Multi-Plan. These are all things that you could buy and put in that spot, but you could only put one in that spot. And what this is basically just like a modern re-implementation of this that has them all on it at once.
Cool. So like a multi-cart for the Model
exactly.
100. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And so there's little dip switches you can use to sort of pick which things are on it.
Nice.
Yeah. This is only for the Model 100 and 102 and not for the 200. There is a separate one that goes for the 100, 102, and 200. And I'm not exactly sure why this is different, but it basically has fewer options. It'll work in the 200, but you don't have as many options. So you could get this and use it in your 101 or 102 or 100 or 102, but you're missing something, and I don't know what.
Say if you've got one of those for $29, this seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, 3 available, 180 sold.
Right, like 100%. Like why would you not? Like this sounds great.
Yeah, I think in fact before I'm done here, I will have bought at least.
Will there now be soon only 2 available?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it seems kind of neat. I think I think I might have the Super ROM and something else. I mean, like, not on purpose, but they were in the ones that I got.
Needs more games. It's gonna be a multi-cart, is what I'm saying. What the heck?
Yeah, I think there are not many games. There are not 0 games, but there are not many games.
Sure.
I think actually there was. I had. Now I've forgotten what it was called, but there was a game I think that was an auction pick a couple times ago. It was actually Radio Shack sold it, and it I think it was on cassette, but it was it was a Model 100 game.
And Internet Archive has a book, 25 type-in games for your TRS-80 Model 100, but you don't type in basic games. So if something is basic, it has games.
Right. Yeah, I think that is fair. I mean, like, you don't want to work with these all the time.
I don't work with them at all. I want to play games, man.
Oh yeah, here. Oh yeah. Actually, this is a little bit on theme too. I switched to a new auction. It says Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 100 portable computer working, and it shows
a photo of a Model 100.
Well, yeah. So first of all, it's a $550 Overbest offer auction. My interest in this was largely not so much in the cost or the price, but the fact that it's just a picture of a tape recorder. It's the Radio Shack tape recorder. I think Carrington, didn't you have? I think you had found at some point a site that was listing all the different characteristics of the various realistic and Radio Shack tape recorders.
Yes, yeah. We probably linked to that in an earlier episode. So does this come with a Model 100, or is it just a cassette player?
I mean, well, so I'm here, clicking through the pictures, and we're seeing all the different angles of the cassette player. Here's the bottom of the cassette player.
I mean, it's a great looking cassette recorder. I've got to say, I do like the look of that recorder. I love an old cassette recorder. Yeah. Okay, there's Model 100.
Here's the modem.
Ooh, acoustic coupling. I love those little where they're separate little earphone things you strap to a phone.
Yep.
I like those.
So we're getting closer and closer.
Getting closer to the actual thing. Oh, here we go. Model 100. Okay, cool.
So
Which,
like
and the thing is
science
I
fiction.
talked before about how a lot of the TRS-80 computers, the Model 1 and the Coco, you pick them up and you think, are these empty? The Model 100 is the opposite. It's supposed to be like super portable. You pick it up like, there's a lot of weight to lug around.
Yeah. It's being supported by binder clips, but
As
I
one
think those
does.
are, yeah. I think that was just for the photography. Um, Actually, you can see it open in the back where you would put those ROMs, the option ROMs. But anyway, yeah. Partly what I thought about this auction was just that it was very weirdly laid out because it took many photos to get to the actual
Probably the
Model 100.
photos got
Oh, and it's
uploaded
got
by
a
system or whatever in the opposite order that was intended. And so like the
that could
last ones
be
are first. Yeah.
because the very last one is actually a picture of all this stuff in a case
This
built
is
for
what
it.
you want. This, right? Showing the
That makes
cassette,
this
the
beautiful.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
This, that was showing everything in the one briefcase.
yeah,
Suddenly, like, this is what you'd want.
yeah,
That might help people buying it, though. There's going to be fewer people bidding because everyone will think it doesn't have what it has.
yeah, yeah. It is. It is a very weird auction. But actually, now that I've made it to the end, it's better than I thought. It's still not $550 worth, but
Is
it's
the
still
briefcase
better than I
included?
thought. Well, I hope so. Let's see. I guess there's a lot of words. I don't want to read the words, but yeah, let's see. I think so. Okay, case.
We're gonna
Let's search
we're
for
gonna say
case.
yes.
Okay, comes in the original kit case. Foam is
Yes.
deteriorating. Yeah, that's true. But that
Sure.
happens.
Okay. So what was the cost of the auction?
$550.
Okay, so
Or
not
best offer.
cheap, but still,
Yeah,
I like that cassette recorder most of all. To be honest, I think I
Yeah.
like the look of it a lot.
I think probably if I were going to make an actual serious offer on this, or like a fair offer, I think it probably would be reasonable to say like 175 or something. I mean, like
Oh, that's a lot
I don't
different.
think I wouldn't go that far up as 550, but I mean, and I suppose part of it is that I have too many of these.
Right.
I mean, I think I have all the. I might not have the case. I don't know if I have the case, but I have all the other components.
Unless the
Still,
person
it's
really
not a bad auction.
needs the
Yeah,
money though. If they've got
yeah,
this thing and it's working and they like it and all, and they're trying to
yeah.
get
And it is
550 and you
working.
offer
It's
them
shown working.
175, they're never going to take your offer. People say, I'd rather just keep it.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah. So who knows? Anyway, but yeah, I thought it was amusing as an auction layout, but now I actually think it might not be all that bad as an auction, really.
Yep.
Okay, and then I think the last thing I will mention, I don't know if this is interesting or not. It is a Atari 2600 power adapter, seemingly from the old like original era. So if you've lost your 2600 power adapter, here you can get another one in a little purple box that says Atari on it. Maybe the experts in our chat will say no, that's a modern reproduction or something, but it looks to me like it is original power adapters and quite possibly dangerous to everything you plug them into. But who knows? Yeah.
I don't know vintage Atari packaging enough to know if this is like the color scheme and stuff
Yeah,
is legit. I can't tell. Like old Apple things and stuff, I can look at them and go, that's not period accurate or
Yeah.
whatever. But I have no idea. This could be a thing from 1978 or 9, or it could be something
Yeah.
produced this year. Someone's got a bunch of them. $15 doesn't seem bad.
yeah, yeah.
New
No, I
or
think
old.
it doesn't seem like a an expensive thing. It looks like plausible Atari packaging to me. I mean, like most of the Atari stuff I see is kind of red based, but I think that was the theme color for the Apple stuff, right? So I'm not sure if this is a purple box. But,
And on the box itself, when you look at through the photos, it says package copyright 1981 Atari Inc. So made in Taiwan. So if it is a new reproduction, they're
quite
going
accurate.
hardcore with the copyright.
Yeah. So who knows? And I think we've talked a bit before about like never
like
use a Commodore or whatever because you're likely to destroy your Commodore and maybe your house.
Right.
But so I don't know if Atari is any better in that respect. But anyway, okay. So I think that was basically it for the auctions that I had
dig
to
it.
pull up.
I dig it. Only $15 seems like a steal.
Okay, let's see what else is there? I think what that must mean is that we have reached the point of what do we say? Like closing notes. Is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That
Do you have
can be
any notes
format.
to close on?
Oh yeah, I've been playing. Just started playing The Dig, the old Lucasfilm point and click game. Because I love point and click games. Playing it on my just started today. Replaying it. I'm sure I played it back in the day, but I'm barely remembering this thing at all. So I think I might have either cheated or had help. Because if I don't go through a game strictly on my own brain power, it doesn't stay in me. I can play it and go, did I solve this? And so maybe I just cheated my way through the first time. I don't know. But I'm playing it and I'm digging it a lot. It holds up. So old Lucas Arts point and click game, and I'm liking it a lot.
Excellent.
That's
Cool.
what I got.
Yeah, for me, I guess mostly my brain has been occupied with the impending Kansas Fest.
No doubt.
I think as I believe I mentioned sometime earlier in this very recording, I'm less than 24 hours out from getting on the plane to going there, and I've just past beginning my presentation. So, but I have till Friday, so we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be talking about the Apple Cat 2 modem, which has come up a few times because it's like a very multifunctional modem. But I have all the pieces, and so one thing that's actually kind of annoying is that like it's supposed to do all these things, but it doesn't seem to work. So one of the sort of like standout things that it can do is it's got an X10 interface. So what that means is like it's able to turn lamps on and off around your house.
Right.
So in principle, you could like call it up and turn on your lamp, or maybe you could plug it into itself and call up and have it turn itself off or something. But I've tried it a couple different places and I can't get this X10 thing to work. And
well, X10 stuff is kind of flaky anyway. So is it the device or is it, who knows?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of wondering about, because I know what X10 does is there's some sort of like carrier signal that it sends across the power line, and then it sort of sends signals like a modem would, saying I'd like to talk to house P and device 2, and I would like to tell you to turn off.
When I have used X10 stuff in the past, the thing that I found very difficult to get working is that everything's going to be the same phase. So in the US, you have two sides of your panel. You got to make sure everything's plugged in on the same side of the panel. Right. And you can bridge them over, but I could never get that to work. So X10 really wants to be on one half of your panel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think the other thing I've seen looking around is that there are, like in our modern era, there are filters everywhere. So because you don't want this line, this looks like line noise to a filter, right? So a filter will try to take it out, and so I've seen some discussion of like basically people's power strips and stuff just plugged in randomly elsewhere. It doesn't have to be even like right next to it or enough to like eat the X10 signal. So I've tried I've tried plugging both things into the very same like 2-prong 1980s power strip.
So you figured that would be able to talk right there, right?
Yeah, but it didn't, and so it's possible that the thing just doesn't work.
Right.
But anyway, so if it doesn't work, maybe I can get it repaired at Kansas Fest. But anyway, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works.
I'm jealous. I had hoped to be able to go to Kansas Fest this year. I thought I was going to be able to go, and then last minute it turns out I have to work instead, and I am bummed about it. So I'll be doing the virtual Kansas Fest, attending that. But I really wanted to this year. It's in a new venue. I want to kind of celebrate that it's a new venue. I love the move. I really wanted to attend. So next year I want to get back on attending, because it's only you have these things in your life and then suddenly it's gone. Like you never know when there's no more Kansas Fests. So
yeah, I think that used to be, at least back in the early days when we were talking about this, for sure. I mean, that you would repeat that. I think someone told you that, right? That like Ryan or somebody, that is like this could be the last one, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, but
that's a big success because I want to go next year. And so how many people are attending this year? Do you know?
It's we're last count was like 66 registered or something. So that's a
good chunk of people.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
And the new venue looks amazing, and the showers look so much better than previous venue showers. Like I say, like the whole prison shower thing that Kansas Fest is known for. I love that change.
Yeah. I think so. I should maybe say, we've wandered off maybe even more than usual into like Apple II-ness here, but Kansas Fest is not. Kansas Fest is broader than that. I mean, you will find wandering Atari people. You will find. There was a. I do remember Kay and Rob, go evangelizing.
Oh my gosh, handing out pamphlets to talk about, have you heard the good news about Atari? That was one of the funniest things at Kansas Fest ever when they did that. It was great.
Yeah, but it is. I mean, it is ultimately it's kind of like the retro computer enthusiast gathering. I mean, it's everybody has some connection to the Apple II usually, but everybody does. I mean, whatever. We're all old. We are all interested in all this stuff, and so yeah. And the thing that sort of differentiates it from the VCFs and things is its duration. It is you stay in a
you stay in the dorms. Yeah. That you immerse yourself in it. Yeah, I miss it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, been a few years since I've been to Kansas Fest, and I miss it. It was like always the thing I would look forward to all year long. So next year I am really strongly determined to go.
Yeah. And Curtis in the chat reminds us of the last Cocoa Fest too. That's
right.
They, in fact,
so great.
They keep calling that is the name of the thing. It's the last Cocoa Fest, but it's whatever, on the 32nd annual or something by now. Yeah. But but it is. I love the naming. That is great.
Me too. Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess that is maybe it for this show. And
does that mean I get to dance?
There's a thing that I usually say here, and I do read it, and yet I have to try to figure out which window it went into now, because I think if I wing it. Stupidly enough, if I wing it, I'm gonna not do it right.
You're gonna get it perfect. You'll realize you never had to read that.
Yeah,
you just knew.
Because what was it? I think there was something that we kept talking about.
Long that was like no longer even a thing anymore.
Yeah. Like proud member of the.
Yeah, the Throwback Network. Yeah, I think the Throwback Network.
Right. Like, and.
We're a retrocomputing podcast. We can be members of things that don't exist anymore. Like, that's our theme. Like, that's what we do, man.
That seems quite fair.
Exactly.
Anyway, okay, here it is. So that's it for this show. You can find the show notes at all the. I do have it. It's here in front of me. You can find the show notes for all the RCR shows at rcrpodcast.com. You can find lo-fi episodes and more via Gopher at rcrpodcast.com. You can discuss the show in the forums at forum.vcfed.com somewhere, at forum.vcfed.org somewhere. You can follow RCR on Mastodon. We are at RCR Podcasts at podcasts.social. You can join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/RCR Podcast, and you can send feedback to feedback@rcrpodcast.com. And if you want to, you can write a review on iTunes. And until next time,
Retrocompute. Oh, hi, Quinn. I'm kidding.
We did hear partway through from Quinn that something didn't work out, basically. And then
it's so funny. Curtis in the chat is saying, well, we might as well mention Cyber Heroes. I agree. Yes, we should. They hosted us for a long time. Yeah. They were really good to us.
No, we very much appreciate 99% of the aspects of Cyber Heroes. The one thing that was difficult was that we lost them with very little notice. So I think actually what ended up happening was that there was a redirect on their feed, but there was a redirect to what's his name? But anyway, the owner's own podcast. So suddenly everybody was subscribed to that podcast.
What is this?
Yeah. So, and I think it's still going. It's still on my feed because I never quite got around to unsubscribing. But yeah. Anyway, but we definitely appreciate they donated that storage to us.
Yeah, hosted us for free for a lot of years.
Anyway, cool. Yeah. And next, Tron DD says, always love when Quinn is on. Well,
I know. Sorry, she makes the show.
Yeah. So I'm sure she'll be on next time. But,
tell us what we got wrong this time.
Happy Bastille Day. Yeah.
Happy Bastille Day.
Yeah. I think I think the Euro's probably over by now, and then France wasn't playing, so. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, good. Thanks for joining us in the
Good
chat.
show.
And we will.
And thanks, chat.
And I will now end the stream. Goodbye, stream.
Bye, stream.